December meeting of the Park Board to order.
Oh, okay.
First thing will be our minutes. Are there any changes, corrections, or omissions from our last meeting that we need to correct? Hearing none, Chair will entertain.
Move
All
to
the-
approve.
Yep.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carried. The St. Croix Sailing School is the
That would.
main item coming up. That's,
Justin was
Yep.
going to speak, our main contact.
so why don't you introduce yourself and take off?
Justin Farner, president of the Sailing School, and we have
Scott Evans, chairman of the board. I'm Paul Mueller, the director of the Sailing.
So I don't know what you guys are interested in getting from us tonight. You guys have main agenda items that you're looking for. So we have the PowerPoint. It's 30 slides long. We can go through that, and then I have the site layouts, and then we also have a picture of an example of some moorings that we were thinking about.
Little background would probably be helpful
Okay.
for you guys. The sailing school is no longer going to be where they are on the corner where Becker's used to live, behind the Morphor store there on the corner. They've lost their tenancy there and are looking for another place to locate. And there's been discussion on, or requests on their part to city staff to take a look at possibility of going to the city garage there on the south side of the city garage, or it was Tom Zuli's suggestion that they go on the south side of all the playground equipment and everything else over towards the marina, and then have that as an access point going in there. And that's been, I think to date, the two primary well, the King Landing, but that's not really practical.
Well, it's not practical, and also I spoke with the owner, and the owner said she wasn't interested
Yeah.
in working with us.
Yeah, so that option wasn't practical or a way of going. I have not heard anything negative about these guys whatsoever in being there. So please don't take anything that I'm saying in any way as a negative towards them. There's nothing intended there. They've been very good at where they were, and I think you're not staying where you were was more a matter of new owners and expansion and change than unhappiness with where they were. So that hasn't been a part of the discussion, and to my knowledge, in any way.
They need parking spots, and they're gonna turn that corner into parking for their expansion.
Yep. So it isn't like they're getting thrown out, you know, for being a bad tenant or getting complaints or anything else. I just wanted to lay that kind of groundwork before we started a discussion that nobody's unhappy with you, right?
Not that we're
Yep.
aware of.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, depends how deep we want to go, yeah. But in terms of the sailing school and the past, and I think it's looked upon by the mayor and by Mike and the city staff as an additive to the lakefront, not a detractor from the lakefront and the whole experience and what you're trying to do.
We've had a couple of good positive meetings with the mayor and with Mike and also Tom, so they attended a couple of those meetings.
Yep.
They expressed an interest in, maintaining a sailing school presence.
And we're going through the master planning, beginning with the consultants, and there's been a lot of discussion at that level on what to do, or what the planning is to do with that building. And I don't think I'm speaking out of school. If I am, I'm sorry. That was one of the reasons that the suggestion was to move you guys to the other side of that space over towards the marina more than adjacent to the building, because I think the overall use of that building is going to be changing considerably in the not-too-distant future. And so it's all yours.
So what we're looking at, what we're originally looking at was a temporary 1 year, the city was, the mayor and the city planner was looking to help us out for a year. For a temporary location, until we get something more permanent and go through with SEH with the lakefront development.
Yep.
We had a couple different options here that we looked at. The building itself, we looked at, which is a pretty good option, and we would look at that as more of a long-term option if that was possible, because I believe SEH is looking at that as being a building for us or for other items like us to serve the front rather than,
Other items, but not like you.
well, okay.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. No, and all I'm saying to that is that's a very valuable spot.
Yep,
And as a revenue generator
Yep.
to the parks, that's what they're looking at as what could we put down there that would generate revenue, that would keep an eye on everything, that, and all of that.
I misspoke.
No, that's fine.
Other than the intent, the current use.
Yeah, it's not,
Changing it from the.
that's a
current use.
waste of asset.
So, when we went down there, we looked at this site here for a temporary spot, a 1-year deal. Then the question comes to where are we gonna go next after that? And then I looked at the SEH stuff. I didn't know any other location that anybody else was discussing other than the Buckeye Garage. When we were down there, looking at that site, Scott and I spent some more time and we were poking around. Because one of the original layouts we had was actually behind the Buckeye Garage and putting our buildings there. We were walking around looking at the building, and it looks, there was a gentleman in there that we talked to a little bit, and he said it's used for dry storage now. So we thought we were gonna propose that if we could use that building, we wouldn't need our other buildings, and we would take over the maintenance of the building and retrofitting the building and fixing the building. Tuck pointing, putting the windows in, painting it. There's some gutters on the back.
You're about fourth in line in that
Sure.
proposal to the city.
Sure.
From the sailing club
So-
wanting to be there, to chamber wanting to be there, to
Yep.
restaurant wanting to be there. You know, that's what I'm saying, is it's all in that mix right now,
Oh, I'm sure.
that I don't see this board making any long-term decision that would in any way restrict what ends up
Right.
taking place, because the whole thing is a whirl
Sure.
right now.
And that was,
But meanwhile, you guys got a sailing school to go someplace,
Yeah.
right?
right, and that's the original
So that's
discussion
our
with the
original
mayor
intent is,
and supporting
and why I
some-
said what I did to start out with, because I didn't want this to come off as a negative, or a total negative. In that, my thinking was, okay, how do we solve your problem for a year,
Yep.
until we know what else is going on?
Right.
And we know you're interested in doing something in a longer-term fashion, and can you be one of the fingers in the glove that fits in down there for the activities we want to see take place? Right?
Right.
Is this location on the south side of the park there good for you guys? For
I mean,
1 year?
when we talked to Tom, this is the other area that he pointed out, was on the south side of the park,
Yeah.
inside the walkway that's here.
Yeah. That in last conversation I had with Tom and Mike, that looked like a really good solution spot for you guys to go. You're out of the way of anything that's taking place, right?
In the
And-
park, yeah.
And you're still present. There's parking right there for you. There's restrooms and everything, all that handy.
It's
To
a
put you
safe
on the
location.
to put you up on the St. Croix Street end of the park, at the walkway up there, I don't think is a good location for you guys. I don't mean to speak for other park board members, but to move them up by the rowing club up there, I think you want a far more public presence.
The problem with the north side of the causeway is it's too shallow for our boats to sail
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah,
So it's,
That's not really feasible.
yeah, and you're hidden.
we like the location, and we really want to go there. We just need approval to go and make plans, that's all.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if we made a motion approving a location to be determined in that general vicinity there by city staff. That's really all we need. Are you comfortable with that much of a recommendation to the city so they can get planning and staff can get planning and we can work through this hiccup and then,
That's what I think they're just looking for, is a recommendation from this board, so they can move it on.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's a huge asset, yeah.
yeah, we'd like to see you there.
We'd like to be there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We would love to be there.
Yeah, and like I said in the very beginning, I have not heard one complaint now from anything in the past. It's all been positive stuff.
So,
And in today's world, that's real rare.
so maybe for the audience, can we share a little bit about what the organization does, or?
Yes, why don't we do that?
Televised,
Is
so
there an
maybe then
audience
folks who are
Is there
watching
one
the
tonight?
meeting will know a little bit more
Is this
about what you
broadcast
do.
tonight? Yeah.
Do you want us to go through the PowerPoint, or do you want us just, okay.
Why don't you?
Why don't we use that as
For the
a-
audience, it'd be beneficial.
Can I ask a question first?
Go ahead.
So when does your lease expire, or when do you have to be out of,
We do
present.
not currently have a lease,
or when, so when do you have to be out of your present
June,
place?
Yeah.
June, okay.
somewhere in there.
So you've got a little bit of time to,
May or June timeframe.
but it's gonna go fast, okay.
Well, we'd like to be,
Our programming starts in April.
Oh, okay.
April 8th will be the first regatta that we host here.
Mhm.
So as soon as the ice is out, we'll need a place to get our kids out of the
Okay.
water.
be nice to be set up before the
Yeah,
season.
okay,
Sure.
so you've got less than 4 months to get this done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I don't think we'll have the opportunity to do it before the ground freezes.
Well, we can move through the.
No, I
winter.
mean, they're just saying that, yep.
The other part of this, the other aspect of this that we talked about is moorings. There's, with this location, we don't have a way to secure our assets. And the boats that we have are $8,000 to replace. They're expensive pieces of equipment. We have, $170,000 worth of material there. Now it's all fenced in, people really can't mess with it. If we go down to that location, we're wondering if we can apply for 2 moorings that would hold 4 boats on each mooring, little floating docks.
You run into, that's a discussion you're gonna have with Mike and Tom Zulli.
Okay.
Because that all ties into now the Corps of Engineers and the DNR and our other moorings and anything that takes place down there. It's a mare's
So
nest
that's
of how.
beyond the,
Yeah.
beyond the park board?
Are you moving these
Yeah.
moorings to the mooring field, is that?
No,
Maybe we should go through
part
a
of,
little
part of
bit.
that design was the moorings out there because we don't have a place to leave them in the park, and have them secured. Currently we use 2 moorings now, but they're in private people's names. They can't be in the school's names. So we're looking to see if we can transfer those to one of our names, or if there's a way that we could approach and have something changed in the bylaws that says that a nonprofit can have the name and hold the moorings
Mhm.
for what we're doing for our intended purpose. So part of the design was that, if worst case scenario, if we can't get that worked out, if we could put some kind of a fence or some kind of a temporary barrier to protect our assets.
Absolutely.
So,
It only makes sense. I would think. I'm sitting here responding, but I think it makes sense for
Because I was.
that kind of thing.
I did look at the mooring permit that we currently have, and you know, there are really good, big stipulations in there. And so I think it would just be a matter of requesting it, like we had, because we had requested, I think, it went from 60 down to 50, or, you know, there's been different changes over the years that I wasn't participating in, but I did read through it, and I meant to bring it down, so, but we can look through that, I can send it to you, and. we
Yeah.
can-
that'd be great.
Mike and Tom will know the ability and then the steps that one has to go through to do that.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, we're talking about 2 issues, the moorings that we have.
Mooring and
We were
the
wondering-
fencing, I don't,
Fencing's one
Fencing-
thing, that would be probably Mike.
Okay, those are 3 issues. Okay,
again,
one
unless
about
city,
fencing.
unless city staff has some objection to it,
Tom didn't
we'll
seem
let
too
that be
keen
part
on
of their-
much for fences in the area, but if we can come up with a reasonable proposal to work out with him, I think we can come up with
For a
something
year.
yeah.
as a temporary solution.
So our motion is going to be to authorize a temporary solution for a year, and we're authorizing city staff to work with you and
Okay.
spend their hours in time doing that.
That's great.
That sounds
Thank
great.
you.
And why don't we tell you a little bit about what we are and what we do?
Please.
Go, talk through it. I'll run the tech.
Founded in 2008, 180 students a year, about 1,500 students, give or take. We do, and those are 7 through 17 or 18, basically school-age children. We do some adult sailing. That's something we're gonna move into more in the future, to offer more options, because we think that's the right way to go, to substantiate us and make us a partner in the community. We're 501c3, part-time. We have one part-time year-round employee, Colin. He's full-time in the summer. This year, we just started, we're keeping him part-time through the winter. So,
Do you need to be here?
is this on?
Yep.
Okay. So we have one full-time person through the summer and one, we have 10 staff, 10 seasonal employees. Okay. And our board is new. A couple of our board members resigned, and now Scott is new within the last couple months. I'm new within the last couple months. We maintained our treasurer. A couple other gentlemen on the board are new. Tracy Mackey is our vice chair. She's been involved in a lot of 501c3s, and she's been a great asset to us for strategic planning and so on. Go ahead. Our mission statement with core values, we just went through a strategic planning, adventure, safety, responsibility, and accessibility. The adventure part of it is pretty obvious. It's pretty cool to see the kids out there doing their thing. 7-year-olds taking an Opti out to Beer Can Island is pretty amazing, and it's really neat to see. The safety is number one in our mission, keeping everybody safe, getting them on and off the water, and every day it's talked about and pressed real hard. Responsibility, we're looking at trying to help the children gain life skills, not just sailing, but other life skills as well, but then add in responsibility. But accessibility, we're looking at trying to get this to everybody in the community. We have a scholarship program that we won't deny anybody from being out there if they can't afford to be on the water with us. There's a couple other accessibility things we're looking to expand with our new board. We want to get people with less mobility on the water, veterans on the water. We want to have a veterans program. We just picked up a new boat last week. It's a little 20-foot bay raider. It's a floating or a trailerable dinghy that has an open cockpit to get people with less mobility in the boat.
Nice.
One of the main points is about just getting people on the water. We'd all like to be out there as many days as we can. People in the water as well, so it's part of the mission.
A lot of the sailors on the river are aging, and there's not a lot of younger sailors coming in. And we see sailing is, it's more environmental friendly. It's, most fun you'll have at 2 miles, a mile and a half an hour. So we'd like to see more people come out and spend some more time with us as well. So 1,500, 2,000 students have been in there. We also have a fall and spring high school racing program. It's pretty amazing. In about 1990, the city's brought on racing throughout the metropolitan area. We've been involved with it. How many years now?
For at least 5 years. I just started 3 years ago, and we've kind of ramped it up every year since then. We compete in regattas throughout the metro area, Wayzata, Minnetonka, Calhoun, White Bear. There's opportunities for the kids to go down to Chicago and race, and it's covered by the Interscholastic Sailing Association. So it's a nationally recognized high school sport.
And one of the things we have Colin working on with his increased capacity at work is working with each of the high schools in the area, Stillwater, River Falls, and in Hudson, to make sailing a letter sport and increase this accessibility for the high school sailing. And that's one of the reasons that he's out there in April, as soon as the ice is off the bay, getting kids on the water sailing.
Get out of the water quick if they fall in.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. It's
Okay.
pretty- Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
think that's all here. Looking ahead,
Looking for a permanent site. We elected the new board. We talked about that already. The board has, the startup of this was a couple guys' dreams. 4 guys started it originally. They did an amazing job. They brought in a lot of independent assets. There was a lot of donations. The people that started the board put money in.
local business.
Local businesses, trying to tie into the local community as well. So the group was real strong. They've done an amazing job, and the access that they've gotten to these children is pretty amazing. That's why we,
So they ran the board for for 9 years. I've been on the board a little bit, while longer than the last few months, but for the last year and a half. And tried to recruit us so that they could step back a little bit, because they've been putting a lot of effort into it for the last few years. And we intend to continue that mission, I would say.
so our programs, our primary audience, are kids 7 to 18. There's some kids sailing dinghies. There's barkers up there. Many of the boats are sponsored by local people, and then some of the boats are named by the donors as well. They pick the name of those boats. But so this boat was designed in 1948 by the Optimist Club. It sailed in 140 countries all over the world. Kids can compete in that boat up to 15 years old, I think. Pretty neat to see.
They're sailed in large numbers all around the world. There's huge competitions for them. So it's something that other people do around the place. So it's
They
the
can
beginner boat.
They can transfer this skill all over the world,
Yeah,
all over the nation.
same wind,
Same wind, same water, sort of.
same physics.
The older kids race in the 420s. Now the 420 is about 14 and some feet long and about 5 feet wide. It's set up like a lot of our bigger race boats. It's got 2 head sails, a spinnaker and a jib, and then a mainsail. It's got a retractable keel and a rudder. These boats are raced in colleges. St. Thomas, Madison, UWM, the military races them, Coast Guard, Air Force Academy races them. So we're giving kids a skill that they can take to college with them as well, and they can go farther than that. Now this 420 is a training boat for the 470, which is raced in the Olympics as well. So this is something that they could build on. And there's other children that are now adults that have sailed on the river, that have gone on and worked for Melgus and other manufacturers. Melgus is a sailboat manufacturer, and have continued their life that started here on the river sailing, and now they have careers made out of it. We have 2 J22s right now. Nemo's the blue one, and Wind Dancer is the white one there. Our advanced students and the adults, they can race with the St. Croix Sailing Club on Tuesday nights from May to October. And they also race in our events on Friday nights. We have about 10 Friday night races, which are more of a play race. And then we have some Saturday regattas and races that we take the kids out on too. So these boats are, they compete all over the world as well.
Anything you want to say about expanding our program this summer, Colin?
Our
Or should come up here?
J22s, we also do adult lessons. This upcoming year, we're expanding to do ASA certifications, which is the American Sailing Association. So adults could come through our organization, get an ASA keelboat certification, and go down to the Bahamas and rent out a boat as a certified sailor. And also trying to expand to get more adults on the water for these race nights. And then we're also going to try to expand adult programming into our 420s as well. I've had a lot of interest from adults just coming up to me while the kids are bringing in the boats, asking, well, how can I get on a 420? So it's a fun boat even for adults to get on. So the adult program is going to be expanding quite a bit this year to really just get everybody in the community involved, get them out there.
And families
racing.
as much as possible.
Families, yeah. Especially on the J22s, you could get a family of 4 easily on there to go on a nice sunset sail, go on a nice, have a fun regatta, a nice afternoon, Saturday lunch on the boat. So There's a lot of room for growth in the adult
So-
lessons on these boats.
So these two boats are the ones that are on the two existing moorings now, and these smaller boats are the ones that we're looking for a space to keep out there if we don't have the ground space to do it, to put a floating dock type situation out there and see if we can put it up in a similar fashion to this. Is a picture from Lake Calhoun and their sailing club. So something like that where we can keep the boats out in the water.
Also saves wear and tear on the boat.
Okay?
Makes sense.
So this slide is just showing kind of how our daily classes work. We are a sailing school, we call ourselves, so we're here to teach and educate. It's also, we can call some of our sessions more campy sessions where kids are there. We play kickball and capture the flag and all that fun camp stuff. But every morning, the kids get together. They, with our U.S. sailing certified instructors, get taught the basics of sailing. We also have advanced race programs where they're going to get into the nitty-gritty of how to get around a race course. So this kind of just shows what a normal day looks like at the program. We utilize the park space quite a bit already, just setting up our smaller boats. We sometimes give lessons out on the point because you can really see where the wind's coming from out on the point. Set up a sail, they can see how the sail works before they get put on the water with it. And when it's too windy, we sometimes utilize the beach down on the park. We host major regattas. We don't host major regattas, we host regional regattas. We host 3 a year, a spring regatta, a summer regatta, and a fall regatta. The spring and fall are the Minnesota Sailing, or the are governed by MISA, which is the Midwest Interscholastic Sailing Association. On those regattas, we have up to 60 to 70 kids come to our little town, and we compete right in the South Hudson Bay. It's one of the parents' favorite regattas to come to because they say, I had one parent come up to me and said, this is such a great venue because we can be over at Malroy's and we can still kind of see their boats, so we're parenting still, right? So they love the downtown Hudson as a place because they can go experience the town as well as it's the kids don't get to sail on it and any other rivers.
Some exposure
Yeah.
to those families from across the Minneapolis area
Yeah.
to see what a great downtown we have, and I think it probably brings them back from time to
Yeah.
time.
And then our summer regatta, we have almost over 100 kids, and they're all bringing their own boats, and that's a really fun regatta. We fill up the whole bay with sailboats and bring a lot of folks into town.
Which means a lot of parents and support crew and everything else.
Yep, this is some more pictures of the regattas that we do.
We'll skip the videos for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like they are gonna work.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful, you know, that, like I said, I have not heard a complaint from anyone who's called the city or called me or said anything to me regarding those darn guys at the sailing school. You know, it's all been positive, fun things from kids and adults, and everybody I see around there has a smile. You know, and to get kids outside is a wonderful thing. So I think we have a motion before us to authorize city staff to work with them to come up with a temporary solution.
I'll second it.
Oh, yes.
Who's gonna make, you made the motion, you seconded it, and Vicky seconded it?
I'll make the motion. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, guys.
Thank you.
I look forward to coming up with a solution that works
Yeah.
all the way around.
Absolutely, we look forward to working with the
Good.
city and coming up to a favorable solution for all of us, and being here for a long time, so thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for what you're doing. Deb, you have any updates for us that you need to cover with us?
Oh, let's see. Well, Anderson bathrooms are complete. We're just
Yay.
waiting for the final punch list. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do a whole lot because of the weather. Came too quick, but closed.
Mm-hmm.
The White Camp Park security lighting's installed on the playground.
Good.
Is the graffiti slowed down?
At White Camp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
We still have a little bit here and there, but, the fitness system down in the playground, or lakefront, of course, that was installed and the concrete was poured and seems to be,
Heard some nice things about that.
heard nice things
Yeah.
about that. The pickleball courts went to the Public Works Committee last week for a recommendation, and they just requested, our city engineer to get better construction costs, and then to come back with the funding sources of
Yeah.
where the funding might come from for that.
Well, I think they, it'll be like any other city project that we move forward with, that it's got to go through all the steps with city staff, with bidding process, engineering, bidding process, and all of that. It doesn't move forward as if it were a private individual project, or the speed at which, I think, a couple of the people on their committee thought it was going to happen. City will come up with the funds, and where the city wants to come from, we don't, it's
So
not
we'll
a
hopefully-
private endeavor in that respect. We have to follow the process and guidelines that the city has to do things. And there's been a bit of a rub there, and I think it's gone away.
Yep.
Yep, so that's been good. It's moving forward.
Okay, good.
And we'll see about the ice rinks if we get them up before Christmas, I don't know.
Turns on Mother Nature there. Yeah.
See what happens, but otherwise, I think that's about it right now.
No, the bathrooms and everything are down for the winter, right?
And then we'll be working with the Rotary on the February event that they want to still have down there, so I'm expecting we'll hear from them soon, so.
Mhm. I don't know of anything else.
The goats in the budget didn't make it through the city council's budget.
Right.
So I wanted to bring that up as maybe an item for a future agenda, how we can get the goats going.
How much was it?
What was it, about
It was
12,000, 14,000?
12,500 that they were, yeah, they took that out of the budget. That was the only thing they took out, I think.
Okay.
More information.
So I'm thinking
Huh?
that, what can we do? Because, I still support having those goats.
Hey, we've put in,
Some-
Rotary has put in hundreds of man-hours. Bethel Lutheran Church volunteers have put in the same.
That greening, the greening
The,
foundation.
one of the other church groups has a number of scouting projects. The buckthorn just keeps coming back so in there that it's taken over the entire understory. And it's safer than chemical.
Yes. And I tried to, tried to advocate for the goats, but, we needed to reduce the budget. So, could we do something like an Adopt a Goat campaign where we get
I think
some?
we
a good
we
idea.
can, and I think we should mention it to some of the other groups in town that have volunteered labor to do it, and go towards that.
Are there
Would you
any,
like to take that on?
I'm pretty busy with EMS these days.
I don't have time to, I don't mean to be rude, but I just
No,
don't with this
and I
time
understand.
of year and everything else to,
I
but,
would
Who's
help.
not here?
I would help with that.
Would you?
But I guess I'm wondering, are there any grants or any other
That's-
potential funding sources that might be available to help with that type of a solution?
you'll be able to inform us. I
a
have
file
no
list that-
idea, I really don't,
I'll get
but I
it.
think that's what we'll find out. And I'm sure, an evening online would produce a wealth of information as well, but if you're willing to take that on, that's wonderful,
I will help with that project.
fantastic.
And if there are others who would like to volunteer, they would be
And
more
when the
than
time
welcome
comes,
to
I'll
participate.
take it to Rotary and to the other organizations that have helped out in the past. We'll do that part. Any other items that people have that we need to put on the agenda in the future that we need to look at or consider? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, we're done. Thank you.
Thank you.